not put it down. Word around this town, my time is now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the Own Your Now show. You know my name, I'm Yolanda Langford, and you all know me as Lady Yo. Now, Miss Tracie is still on vacation because she deserves it, but she will be back tomorrow when we have the full cup along with Shameem Clark Hubbard. Come on in, tell me what's in your cup. This morning, I am drinking coffee with a tad bit of cream, and look at my cup. Coffee gets me started. God keeps me going. Good morning, Alex. What do you have in your cup, brother? I know you're already got your run in. You're sipping on probably your second cup of coffee. Good morning. How are you doing this morning? Now, you know it was the weekend, so everyone has to drop in the chat what they were doing for the weekend. Me, myself, I did a lot of organizing. As you know, I moved and you have all these boxes. So I've committed myself to doing at least 2 boxes a day. So I've gotten it down to where I can order furniture and get it looking like a home. So what did you guys do this morning? Good morning, Kate Pride. Good morning, Sybil. What's in your cup, Kate? You know, I know birthdays come every day, but you know, Lady Yo loves to shout out birthdays, vibrant vibes, and tell you a little bit about what's going on in the world. So the first shout out I have is Angela Pride wants to say happy birthday to her daughter, Trinice Hayes. She says, happy birthday, big baby. She said that's her big baby. Kevin Prescott has a birthday. Dennis Simon has a birthday. And Johnny Benedict's all the way out in California. Latita Mims Andrews and her twin sister, Katina Mims. So it is Latita and Katina's birthday. The twins have a birthday. Sean Williams, Sonia Key Robb, you know she's a Gramblinite. Happy birthday, Gramblinite. And also Mark Hostaw all the way from California. Now, you know I always shout out the Vibrant Vibes. We have Vibrant Vibes going out to Marion Daplin's son. He has graduated from preschool. She wants to say she loves him. She wanted him to know he's done a great job, and she's looking forward to everything that he's going to accomplish as a young man. Congratulations, Benny. Now, just in case they're watching, happy birthday, Kim Whitley. Happy birthday, Alan Iverson. And happy birthday, Tom Jones. What's up, pussycat? I love that song. That was my song. And you know what? We cannot let this day go by without remembering the one and only Prince. Today is Prince's birthday. So I know I have a lot of friends who have a Prince on the mind, and they will be wearing purple head to toe. He had so many fabulous songs, and I hear they're going to be putting out some new songs. So I'm excited. So happy birthday, everyone. Vibrant vibes. Go out there and make it a great day. We have Vanessa Kelly Mosley in the house. All right, now Sybil Smith is in the house. Well, you know, we always do at this time is we get out and we talk about meditation. We do a little meditation just to settle our souls so we can get ready to receive all this great information that is going to come to us today. We have Pamela McKelvey Hamner. She is a cancer survivor. Yes, today is National Cancer Survivor Day, but that is not her whole story. This is a woman who is out there doing the work. And we also have Marcus Miller. He's going to talk to us about pride. He's going to talk to us about how it is for families to come to the realization that someone in their life may be different than they are. So he's going to talk to us about how people come out, how people are able to talk to their families. But before we get to that, let's do our meditation. We're going to do our meditation song by Lady Bree. Everybody take a deep breath. Breathe out. Take a deep breath. Breathe out. Try to settle your mind. Put your feet flat to the ground. Breathe in one more time. Breathe out. Take your left arm, raise it up, stretch to the sky. Try to catch some of that sunshine. You got it. You can do it. This is a new beginning. That's what Mondays are all about, the new beginnings. Bring that down. Stretch up.
I'm loving who
There we go.
I'ma be my best self.
Stretch your left arm to meet your right arm. Bring it down, center yourself. And as Tracie always says at this point, reach out and touch a friend. Amen. I love it. I love it. Well, we're going to get started with our very first guest because she has a busy, busy day. We have our guest, Pamela Hamner. She is a proud graduate of Grambling State University. She is also a candidate for Alderwoman, South Haven, Mississippi. And she is a 10-year survivor. And I always say they are overcomers of cancer. Please welcome in Miss Pamela Hamner. I got to remember the Hamner part.
How are you doing, Graham fan?
I am excellent. And you know what? I always tell people it is so wonderful when you can reach out to the alumni of Grambling. And they don't ask any questions. They say, what you need, friend? Or, how can I help you? How can I support you? And girl, let me tell you, I am so proud of all the things that you have done because I knew you when we were all much younger. Yes. And then I've just watched your star just soar. So I know it's National Cancer Survivor Day. And that is who you are, honey. Cancer did not beat you. You showed cancer what was happening. First, tell me what's in your cup.
Okay, so what's in my cup? I'm just drinking straight black coffee today, and it is in my Mississippi flag. You know, Mississippi used to have a Confederate flag, but last year, shortly after George Floyd was murdered, the athletes in this state really are the ones that promoted the Black African-American athletes who said they wanted a flag that they could carry that had pride. So we, the legislature voted our new flag, and it's beautiful. I've used it in my campaign literature. I've seen it out at homes when I've been knocking on doors. So that's what I have in my Mississippi. And then on the back, it says DeSoto County Democrats, because we are growing the base. Okay.
I love it. I love it.
Just drinking straight black coffee this morning. Just straight black coffee. No sugar, no cream, heavy D.
I love it. I love it. You know what we always laugh about? We say straight. Tracie always says, my coffee's black like I like my men. So you know what? Which way that goes, we'll take it. You know, Pam, you have quite the story. You know, I knew you when you were at Grambling University, and we were pageant girls back then.
Yes, ma'am. And you were beautiful then and still beautiful now.
Oh, you're sweet. Thank you so much. And back to you, my dear. We started out at Grambling, and I know I had very humble beginnings. Talk to us about what Grambling taught you and what going to an HBC taught you.
Oh, man. Wow. Well, first of all, you know, I went to Grambling sight unseen. I was from Kansas City, Kansas, not far from St. Louis, about a 3-hour drive down I-70. And I wanted to go to an HBCU because I had been at a predominantly white high school where we were not respected and valued for who we were, and we were expected to assimilate. So when I went to Grambling, it was life-changing. And the motto of Grambling, where everybody is somebody, really is relevant. Because I came from a home with a single-parent mom who had 4, now what they collectively say, baby daddies. I was never proud of that. I was actually shameful of it. And my mom got her GED when I was a freshman at Grambling, okay? When I went there, I had no money, no Pell Grant. I did the pageants. People thought I enjoyed pageants because I thought I was pretty or I was stuck up, as they often perceived. But I did the pageants because the pageants paid my scholarship money. Okay. When I graduated from Grambling State University after I had done the Miss America pageant, and Grambling was, I mean, absolutely awesome in the preparation and the support and the resources. And so when I got to Miss America, I won enough scholarship money to pay off all of those Sallie Mae loans. Okay. And this is a true story. I was working in TV in Kansas City at WDAF Channel 4, which is now a Fox affiliate. And at that time, it was NBC affiliate. And so I had done Miss America. I was finally getting some kind of recognition and notoriety for my work. And I got this job in Kansas City, a weekend anchor. And shortly after that, the Miss America pageant settled all of my debt from Sally Mae. I had that time, because I had been doing pageants, my debt was only 16 grand. And you know that that's a low debt load from 4 years of college. So they paid off the rest of that 6 grand. I still had a little change and cheddar left, right? It was the first time, you know what I'm talking about when you pay your bills and you got at least $50 to the next paycheck.
We've all been there.
Right. You ain't stretching because you don't want to catch that overdraft fee, right? Okay. So they sent me this pink slip from, I will never forget it. And I have it somewhere in my Kansas City collection, but it was a pink slip about maybe, like a driver's, like, like you get your license renewed, about the size of that in dimensions. And it said paid in full. I was like, girl, I put that on my desk in a frame, and I was like, anybody go by, the janitor, I'd be like, hey, how you doing today? Look at that right there. Look, I don't owe no debt from college.
Yeah. That's so funny you say that, because I was a pageant girl also. And that was the reason why I did it. It wasn't anything to do with anyone thinking that I was attractive. It was a way for me to pay for college, and it worked. You went through the pageant system. I'm sure you learned a lot of things about presenting yourself. Then you became an anchor.
Right. And all of it, the pageant is the vehicle, but Grambling prepared us. I don't know if you remember the old days of Grambling, but they actually had a full board of people that are very dear to me, like Mr. Eddie Jones, Ruby Higgins. Oh gosh, I can't think of her Miss. I see her name, very tall. Oh man, I hate forgetting her name, but all of these people, it was 8 of them, including Jacinda Vincent's mom, and Dr. Vincent. And they prepared us with etiquette, with speech and preparation, with our diet and exercise, with our diction and speaking. I remember they took us one time to, what was the restaurant? Something like I don't know.
Was it Ponderosa or something like that?
It was like a Ponderosa, but it was in Monroe. Piccadilly's. And thank you, Piccadilly's. They made us order fried chicken and eat it with a fork. Okay. Just to teach us to get comfortable in the settings and how we spoke and carried ourselves. And those are the skills that actually helped me in all of my career, not just in television, but in interacting with the public. And then when I did medical management, you learn awesome communication skills. These are lifelong assets that you take with you from that experience that build you to where you are now. When I was 18 years old and I came to Grambling sight unseen, no money, no exposure to anything like higher education and understanding the historical value of HBCUs in America, to learn that at that time, when I was a student at Grambling, there were 117 historically Black universities, and that most of the people that were in prominent position, whether it was law, politics, medicine, urban development, all of these people had gone to HBCUs because at that time, they were the only ones that took an initiative in investing in us. I can remember people that I went to high school who were African-American telling me, oh, I wouldn't go to a Black school because your education is not going to be on par. Well, guess what? On the HBCU campuses, when companies like IBM are looking for the best of African-Americans, they go to HBCUs to pick their candidates. And I want to be at a school where the student union is not the Black student union. It's just the student union. So Grambling changed the trajectory of my life. I was a freshman and I won Miss Bayou Classic because I needed scholarship money to pay for my tuition. And I didn't know I was the only chocolate chick in there until somebody from the Grambling night did a story and told me, you're the only dark-skinned girl in the pageant. I was like, oh, really? I am? I guess I am, okay, right. And it became this thing where other people on the campus showed me at that time kind of like a pride of, hey, we know you're the only dark skinned one in there, but we like that, we like that. And it just was inspiring for me. It really did. That first semester, I never expected that to happen to me. But I literally needed the money to pay for my tuition because I had thought I had a Pell Grant, but because I had made errors on my financial aid application. You remember what financial aid was like back then? Okay. I remember it took me 3 days to get in the T.H. Harris Auditorium. We didn't even have at DMV, you have a machine and you pull your little number out the little computerized thing, right? You know what they gave us? Cardboard written in magic marker. You remember that. This is a true story.
I know.
wrote about it in the book that one day I'm going to publish.
All right.
But it was a true story. And it was like, they had like 700 students. I was like 300 or something. For 3 days, I had to wait to get up there on the stage where they had 6 computers for the whole student body.
I remember.
The computer would break down, and you'd be happy that you at least got in there inside, and you wouldn't be outside in August. Because I came to Grambling sight unseen, and I didn't know how hot.
Yes, Louisiana is hot.
I would walk from Jones Hall over to T.H. Harris Auditorium, all dressed and cute, thinking, I got to make professional presentation. I'm going to be a college student now. I got to represent this, that. Girl, by the time I got around to the T.H. Harris, sweat just all
over. Pam, do you remember? They used to say, if you survive the financial aid line, you can survive anything. So we survived. Right. Speaking of surviving, you have overcome cancer. You are a survivor. Talk to us about the story the day that you went for a regular mammogram and you got that news.
Right. Well, because I had always had like cysts, and I had always had fibroids and overgrowth, I used to have what they call a diagnostic mammogram. And that's where they take a biopsy, they stick a needle and they extract some of the fluid or tissue, and then they look at it under the microscope to determine whether or not it's cancerous. So I had always had those, so it didn't alarm me. So I had my mammogram, and they did the diagnostic, and it was a Tuesday when I got the results. My husband is a physician, and he had spoken to the radiologist, and it was lunchtime, and I was upstairs, and I will never forget, he walked in the room and he had this pained look on his face. And I actually had forgotten about taking the test. And I was like, what's up? Why are you looking like that? And he was like, it is carcinoma. Those are the 3 words that he said. And then my husband is medical and very technical. And he was talking about all of the things that we were going to do and the procedures, because he had already mapped out the plan for handling this. And I'm very grateful for that. But honestly, I can remember sitting down. He said, it is carcinoma. And it was like the words he was saying were like, Charlie Brown used to go, womp, 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 when the adults were talking. It was just like that. And I could hear him, but I couldn't hear him because at that time, I had already told myself, if it is carcinoma, Lord, I'm going to sit down and surrender it totally to you. Because I used to be that anal retentive, thought I was in control, thought I could plan out everything. And I sat on the edge of my bed and I said, I'm surrendering this to you, Lord, and I'm going to totally trust you. And it was like a feeling of upliftment came over me. And those times, everything worked out. I ended up being able to, because my husband was a physician, find out the best way that I could attack this cancer for a survival rate. And so I went in very aggressively. Okay. I did a double mastectomy, because the double mastectomy lessened the recurrence for cancer, because within 5 years, if you don't do the double mastectomy, and depending on what your stats are, and you can ask the physicians all the questions about your makeup, people in your genetic background that are similar, that have gone through this, what did they do to survive? Okay. And 88% of the time, what they did to survive was to be aggressive. You have a double mastectomy. That way you have a less chance of having the recurrence. So I was very aggressive. On the day of December the 12th, I got diagnosed in November. 6 weeks later, after doing all the research and deciding the plan of attack, we went in, I did a double mastectomy and bilateral reconstruction on the same day. It was about an 8-hour surgery. In hindsight now, I'm glad I did that, but it was very, very challenging. But after that, I thought, okay, I'm done. And then my husband comes back to me about 2 months later, and he's like, I can't let you do this without doing chemo, because it's almost like, the chemo is the guarantee. And so with doing the chemo, then my chance of recurrence at that time was like less than 12%. And I was like, I have to do it, because I did not want to do chemo, because the chemo, it has long-term effects on your body, which I still deal with to this day, like this hot flash I'm having right now.
I understand.
Right. But I'm grateful for it, because through it, I was able to educate a lot of us. At the time when I got diagnosed, it was 1 in 9 women with breast cancer. And African-American women were dying at a disproportionately higher rate than other women because we would not go get the diagnosis. So at that time, this is how God works stuff out.
Don't he do it?
Girl, I had been thinking about getting back in television. And at that time, my former news director, because I went to work at a different station, she called me on the day I was in the hospital and had surgery. And she said, I think I have an opportunity for you, because I was going to go back in TV. And I actually thought about just being a producer, working behind the scenes and writing. And she said, I'm going to do a 4:00 show. And I think that you would fit perfectly for this show. And I disclosed to her fully everything that was going on. She loved the idea. And we used my experience to promote breast cancer awareness. And that became kind of like a peg for me in the industry. And then I took the wig off on the air, which went viral.
Yes, it did.
I got letters from women all around the world. I got a letter from a lady in Australia who had a biracial child who told me, thank you. She said, my daughter's hair is beautiful to me, but she feels like when she gets ridiculed that her hair is not acceptable. And so it has been that's all God. I can't plan details like that, Yolanda. I can't. And by surrendering it to, now I surrender everything. I don't try to control anything. I try to listen to the Holy Spirit. I make mistakes every day, but I atone and I look at things totally different now. When I was in my 20s, I was so like gung-ho on feeling like I had to validate myself, because I came from nothing. And so now I realize that everything I need, he already had it in place. Yes. Everything. And once I surrendered in the trust part, because it's one thing to have faith, but when you really execute that faith by trusting, that means letting go. You know how we control freaks are.
Yes.
We plan everything. How many, I'm going to ask how many things planned out, wrote down. I know I do. I still do it.
Yes.
But now, in the foremost of everything, I'm surrendering it. I'm trusting. And I'm not afraid. That's the biggest thing. I'm not afraid anymore. Because I know that no matter what happens, God got me.
Hey, yes. And absolutely, because he has sustained you. You've gone through the fire. How are you owning your now?
Ooh, child. I'm walking in. What's the song? I'm walking in with my hands up. Walking in it. Walking in all my purpose. Good, bad, sometimes ugly. Without that fear, praising him and trusting. And then you are... The way the enemy works, that's why I always say the unseen God. God is never seeking recognition,
Right.
And sometimes the test is, are you going to trust him through it when you don't know the outcome? Because it's easy to be happy when you know the win is guaranteed. Okay.
Yes.
You can go into your kids acting right, your money's right, your job, everything is right. It's easy to be like, oh yeah, praise the Lord. But, when the cancer cells and your blood count is low and you are feeling depression, which is a very real thing that most of us at some time in our life will experience in one form or another, because it is chemical. And African Americans, certain things, we need to learn how to acknowledge them in order to change them. We cannot act like things don't exist and think they're going to go away on their own. There is nothing wrong with talking about mental health. There is nothing wrong with talking about sexuality. These are natural things that we should talk about and discuss so that we can have a better future for our children, so they don't have to have that vicious cycle of ignorance that leads to trauma for us.
Absolutely. 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 So I see that you have something behind you saying VOTE. What's that all about?
Amen. Amen. Vote. You know right now that in our U.S. Senate, they're trying to erase us from the voting rights that African Americans took bricks for, took water hoses for, lynched for, that we could have the right to access to vote for our power. So even if you don't vote for me, vote. Historically, in city elections, like I'm running in, municipal elections all over the country have a voter turnout rate that is less than 20%. That to me is an insult to all of our ancestors who did so much to preserve the rights that we so freely have right now. So voting is like, to me, voting is life. It is life to me. I always vote. Even when I was a student at Grambling, I can remember we worked with the NAACP and they brought in Jesse Jackson when he was trying to qualify to run for president. And I can remember then just knowing that it's important. And it's not just about us. It's about the future of us, because had the people not stepped outside of the box before, we wouldn't be where we are now. And we all benefit from that. So to me, the least we can do is vote. It's the least we can do.
Well, we know you have a big election tomorrow. Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am. Super Tuesday in South Haven, Mississippi. I'm hoping that we can get the vote out. My platform is running on transparency, because I think that local government, especially an alderman is just like a city councilman. You are a representative of the people of your district. In our district, we don't know what our aldermen are doing. Many of the people that knocked on doors, they didn't even know what an alderman was or what ward they live in. So I'm running on transparency. Should I win, you have so many ways to communicate with your people, your voters. You got social media. When I'm out meeting people, I take a text, I take a selfie with them, I write their number down, I give them my number, my email. Questions you got, you're going to have access to me, okay? You're going to know what's happening in those meetings, because I'm going to tell you through my newsletter or my blog. Everybody already knows me from the TV. You never not know what I'm thinking, okay? You may not like what I'm thinking.
Right.
You may not like what I say, but you know where I stand on the issues. So that part, transparency, accountability, I will be accountable to you. You won't have to worry about me doing what I'm supposed to do. I know no other way to have a come up than to do what I'm supposed to do. And that since I was 18 years old, and I went off to go to college to make something of myself. And then integrity. I hold myself accountable to the same integrity that I will hold you to. I'm not going to do anything that I think is damaging for myself. And I'm certainly not going to do anything that I think is damaging for you. And I want to represent all the people, not Black people, not white people, all the people, not poor people, not rich people, because this area is very diverse, and Mississippi has a huge history of diversity that gets whitewashed and erased. I mean, this very community I'm living in used to be a Black community owned by Black landowners. You still have people who have had property in their family for hundreds of years. People who were slave owners who were slaves and then became sharecroppers and owning the land. And now the streets are named after their ancestors.
That is beautiful. In Mississippi. Well, we are so glad that you said yes. We want to say congratulations for 10 years
Thank you.
Of being a survivor. And when I talk to you tomorrow, I hope we're going to be saying congratulations on the election win. Pam, tell us, what is your affirmation word?
Oh, wow. It's not really one word, but I have to say that it's 3 words. And it's a song that my mom used to sing in church. Peace, be still. Because like I told you, I used to be that control freak trying to plan out the outcome. And now I surrender stuff. I even any challenge, peace, be still. Because the great I am doesn't need a definition. What did he tell Moses when Moses said, Pharaoh told me that I have to do such and such and to tell me who you are? And God said, the great I am, who I am, the great I am. I need no explanation. So once I surrender that, now when things happen and they work out, and I do the work, that I'm supposed to do. But as far as me trying to control and manipulate things, letting go of that is like just takes a stressor off of me and allows me to open up for God to show me, okay, here's how the will, and here's how you walk in your purpose.
I love it.
It takes a lot to step back from
absolutely
personalities.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Pam, thank you so much. I know you have a busy day. Thank you so much for joining us on the Own Your Now show, and I will be talking to you soon.
Thank you.
Best wishes for tomorrow. Peace.
All right. Thank you.
Wow, I told you Pam was going to bring us some information. She's a survivor. She's an overcomer. And tomorrow she is going to be a winner. Okay, so our next guest is Marcus Miller. Marcus is a graduate of Lee Senior High School of Meridian, Arkansas. When he was in the top 10% of his class, He then went on to pursue a career in education and social advancement. Marcus is also the intake therapist with SSM Health and the founder and current chancellor of Theta Pi Upsilon Fraternity Incorporated. Please bring Marcus on up so we can talk about pride. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
I am fabulous. I see you. You're blessed. I see you lifting up that cup. Tell us, what do you have in your cup, sir?
Yes, so I actually went with something more tranquil this morning. I'm doing just water.
Well, you know what? Then I'll lift my water to you. Cheers. Now, let's get started. You talk to people about, and in your words, Black and queer. Talk to me about that.
So being queer is like the new umbrella of saying more so being homosexual, quote unquote. So it's taking a stance back more so on that word. When you're queer, you're more so in the umbrella of sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
So you have all different spectrums and levels and understanding, and it's more so taking back up the word or the identity that a lot of people like to use of homosexuality.
So this month is Pride Month. Talk to us about this would be a month that a lot of people question their sexuality. And if they have questions, they might say, well, you know, I need to talk to someone. Talk to us about what you do as a profession and how you help people to be able to have that conversation.
Sure. So a lot of things what I do first of all is it's funny that you say they think about it during this month because a lot of times they question every day of the year, and I think that that's one of the conversations that a lot of people need to have when it comes to sexuality is the piece of understanding sex and running away from this idea of sex, and actually owning your sex and what that means for you. And I think that we, as a lot of times as African Americans, we were so, I would say, taken aback when it came to discussing sex. And a lot of times, I know growing up in the South, you would hear more so of, well, you can't be this type of person when it comes to sexuality versus having the talk. So a lot of times, people didn't even have the talk before they were told that you couldn't be gay. So,
Right.
and I think that that had a lot to do with the idea and the understanding of like just sex in general and what that meant for sex. So personally, what I do is educate others. I love educating people who fall under the umbrella or whether it be people who are advocates for the queer community or people who don't like the queer community.
Mm-hmm.
I love having conversations with people concerning sex and sexuality because it has to be understand that sex is fluid, and a lot of people don't understand that. And when we get in these spaces of talking about sex, a lot of people become uncomfortable or they feel that it's unnecessary to indulge in
Mm-hmm.
people's sexual orientation or life. So it's taking away that idea and understanding that everything must be centered around a person's sexuality. When we're so much more than that. And
Yes.
that's the piece that we have to get through is that a person's sexuality does not identify who they are as a person.
Yes.
It's only a piece of them. So that's what we have to get to that place of when you're loving to learn and love someone based
Yes.
off of their own personality versus sexuality.
Now, us as Black people, and being a lot of us have been raised in the church, talk to us about how a person can come out, especially an African American person. And I hope I'm using the right term, come out or have that conversation with their family.
And you know something, what I had to learn was that because I did grow up in the church. I love me and my friends talk about this actually. I'm a Baptist girl, okay?
I love it. I love it.
Yes, gender is very fluid on our side. Gender is very fluid on our side. But I consider myself a Baptist person. I grew up in the church. I was in church. I went to church Sunday through Sunday. Okay.
Okay.
And not only that, I was very, very active in church. I was on the usher board, the choir, the young praise dance team. I was a part, basically the president of our youth department.
Okay.
But even while going to church, I heard several times that I was going to hell several times. Whether it was through a sermon, whether it was through somebody just having general conversation
Mhm.
about people's mannerisms. So, um, what I had to learn while going through church and being one of those people who had to hear the sermons of Adam and Steve versus Adam and Eve,
Mhm.
um, you had to learn God for yourself, is what I
Amen.
had to learn. Um, and that
Yes.
has been my saving grace, honestly. Because after all the times that I've been told that I was going to hell, I just knew I personally had not been birthed to go to hell. That was
Hey.
not my story. So I always had I, to learn how to identify even if it was a sermon, what
Mhm.
that meant for me. Because the Bible talks about learning the word for yourself. If you don't know it
Yes.
for yourself, you won't be able to use it for everybody else. So I think that understanding God and who He was for me helped me be able to learn to love me. And I think I
Hey.
had to take away the idea of church and understand the relationship that I had with God. Because if it wasn't for the building, I wouldn't be who I am today. But if it wasn't for God, I definitely wouldn't be where I am today. So that was the main thing. And I haven't actually been to church in years now because I also refuse to go to a church that want to identify me for who I am as well. I don't need you to talk about me being queer. I don't. You don't have to throw my sexuality in a sermon, but I definitely won't give you my tithe if you don't accept me for who I am.
That's
So
understandable.
I had to learn how to love God for myself.
Love God for myself. I like that. I might have to steal that from you. Okay. So you are a therapist. Talk to us about uh, being a therapist and how you help people to get to along on their journey.
First of all, it's being empathetic and understanding everyone's journey and everyone's space and everyone's time. I think that not just I know it's more so in the Black community or African American community where we don't know how to distinguish people's sexuality,
Mhm.
or because we have been taught that how evil homosexuality is. You have this time and era where you are dealing with a lot of people who become ill-minded about sex and sexuality. So what I try to do is always respect the person's time frame.
Mhm.
Everybody is not ready to come out.
Okay.
Coming out is not easy. I know growing up, I was told I was gay before I knew that I was gay. So in understanding sexuality, you have to also be able to respect everyone's space. Coming out is not easy.
Yeah.
I know personally friends who came out and were beaten. I know personally friends who came out and were taken out of their homes. Their parents kicked them out of their home. I know people who had to learn basically sell their bodies on the street in order to
Mm.
survive just because they openly said that they were queer. So the idea in learning a person's time frame and also respecting them personally is very valuable. But what I also try to teach people, especially parents, is love. And I
Love.
know one thing, me and one of my big sisters says, boss, Candace Cox, shout out to Chaos Incorporated. What we love to talk about and tell parents about is you did not mess up because your child is gay.
Okay.
And I think that that's the main issue is that a lot of parents feel that when their child is gay, they messed up. Something happened to where they didn't do right or they was touched. That's the first thing that a lot of black parents go to is who touched you versus
Mhm.
actually sitting down and having a conversation. Or like I told my mama years ago, girl, you knew. You knew.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, Marcus,
And that's really the truth.
it is the truth. And you said the key word. The key is love. And I thank you for coming on today. You have blessed us with information that we may not have known. You might have helped someone, but I know it touched me because I want to be aware and be appropriate. And I just want everyone to open their arms up to love. Speaking of love, what is your affirmation word of the day? While everyone else drops their affirmation word, what is your affirmation word of the day?
My actual, I guess my affirmation word for today, I guess will have to be the idea of growth.
Growth.
Just continuously growing for myself, growing for my community, growing for my family, and just being better every day. That's the main thing.
Well, thank you again. And growth is your word. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank everyone in the audience for joining us today on the Own Your Now show. Now, tomorrow, of course, it will be the cup. It will be the full cup. My affirmation word of the day is support. I think with the two people on today, you see Pam, support is important for her as she journeyed through her cancer and as she's journeying on to be in politics. And for Marcus, support is important. So my word today is support. Go out today and support someone where they're at. Meet them where they're at and provide support. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow. As we always say, if you want to go outside, you have the choice to wear a mask. But if you want to stay inside, just keep sipping, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Own Your Now show.